We talked about these vines being 165 years old, and that doesn't just happen because it takes a lot of manual labor to prune these vines, tie these vines, and then get them through that particular season. When I say prune these vines, it actually takes a grape pruner about 25 hours per acre to prune the vine. And when I say prune the vine, we have to remove approximately 90% of the previous season's growth. Or in other words, 10% of the current season's growth will support a full crop of fruit. Now, it is now June 18th, 19th, and you can see this forming cluster of grapes. And this actually is, these are all small grapes containing seeds, and about September 15th or September 25th, along in that period of time, these grapes will grow to full maturity, and they'll be at least the size of a good-sized marble. And then we'll have to come through and hand pick each one, and that's done. We have a tray here on the ground, and then each cluster is held in the hand, and we use a pair of vine scissors to cut the cluster and put it in the tray. From there, the trays are all picked up with a modern day tractor and taken to a truck down below, and then transferred to a bin, and then that bin is taken to the processing plant, and there's where the grapes are crushed and pressed and turned into juice. The growing season portion that I've mentioned basically starts in about mid-April, and then we normally look for a killing frost after the grapes are harvested, of course, we hope, about the end of October. We like to have harvest finished by the end of October, and then at some point, usually by mid-November, sometimes late November, we will get a killing frost. The leaves will then drop off from the vine, and then we will have just what's now forming are these canes. And these canes will form for next year's crop. So when we prune, we'll cut back to this location, and this will be the new cane, just like this is the cane for this year. Sometimes what will happen too over a period of years is the vine next door may die for some reason, and then what we will do is we'll take this cane and make it much longer, or allow it to be longer. Instead of pruning it short, we'll prune it long, and we'll actually dig a hole over here and we'll bury the cane, and it will form new roots and form a new vine over a period of 3 or 4 years. It's almost like this vine is like a mother. It is a mother vine, and this cane really becomes the umbilical cord to the new vine. And after a period of time, as I mentioned, that can be cut off and the new vine will be successful on its own. So I'm sure that has happened in this particular vineyard over a period of time, but the majority of vines are probably in that 150, 160 years old. Now, if you look down here at the base of the vine, I'm going to, yes, right here, you will notice that there's kind of a clumped area here. This was originally one of these trunks. And the way we are able to sustain the vineyard over that long period of time is that we continue to have new, what we call multiple trunks. You'll notice this is larger. So that particular trunk is probably 8 to 10 years old. This particular trunk on my right is probably more like 4 or 5 years old. And here at the base is a brand new trunk, if we want it to be a brand new trunk. The advantage of this is if we get an extremely cold winter, the point at which the trunk will be killed is different for the different age of trunk. most likely the older trunk will be more susceptible to the cold than the younger trunk. So if this particular trunk dies, or if it gets too crooked for some reason, then we put the full complement of the fruit, the canes, on this trunk, cut this one off, and then we bring up a new one. So we're in what we would call a constant renewal process of the vine. And that's one reason we're able to sustain it over that 165-year period. This is all fairly, as I've mentioned before, it's all fairly labor intensive, but that's the way you maintain a vineyard over a long period of time. If you look over here to my left, you'll notice this fairly old trunk, and look how crooked it is coming out into the row. In fact, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if the tractor has caught this trunk. So if I was pruning this vine this next year, what I would do is I would look to see how strong the new trunks are, and this looks very adequate. I've got a new shoot over here which will become a new trunk. So what I would do is put the full complement of the canes that are needed on the younger vine, and then I'd bring my saw over here and I'd cut this one right off. So it's not out in the row bothering the operation of the equipment anymore. So again, over a period of time, those are the kinds of decisions that you make in renewing the trunks in the vineyard. It could either be killed because it got froze, or it could just have formed in a way that's not conducive to equipment coming through the vineyard.